Eggbert, the Slightly Cracked Egg by Tom Ross. Illustrated by Rex Barron. There once was an egg named Eggbert. He loved to paint beautiful pictures. Eggbert's paintings always cheered up the other eggs in the refrigerator. But one day, it was discovered that Eggbert was slightly cracked. Eggs with cracked shells were not allowed to stay. Sadly, the other eggs told Eggbert he would have to leave. Eggbert waved goodbye to his old friends. He hunched his shoulders, what little shoulders he had, and pressed his shell together so that the crack almost disappeared. Then he set out to look for a new place to live. All the drawers had labels, but none of them was right for Eggbert. He knew he would have to look harder. There had to be some place where he would fit in. Before long, Eggbert came to a spot with a beautiful view. If only I could stay here, he thought. Then he had a great idea. No one had to know that he was an egg with a cracked shell. He would paint himself to look like the other eggs around him. He'd blend right in. But just as Eggbert was thinking he'd found the perfect place, a potato happened to notice his crack. "Split," the plant ordered. Eggbert tried not to be discouraged. Maybe I'll have better luck outdoors, he said to himself. The only way down was to jump. Luckily, Eggbert landed in a soft bed of flowers. He had never seen flowers before, but they smelled even better than butter and lettuce. Perhaps this is the perfect place for me, he thought. A dab here, a splotch there, voila! Eggbert was covered with flowers. But late that afternoon, an angry bee discovered that you cannot get nectar from an egg. Again, Eggbert was told to leave. It was getting dark, and he still had not found a place to live. Just when he was about to give up all hope, a glimmer of something caught his eye. "What beautiful little lights," Eggbert whispered. With all his might and twice his usual glare, he climbed up the fence. "Perfect," Eggbert said, when he was covered with stars. But the next morning, when the night stars were gone, a cat discovered that Eggbert was just an egg with a cracked shell. "Scramble," said the cat. Eggbert took a hard fall on the sidewalk. Now he was more cracked than ever. As it started to rain, he began to sob. He realized that no matter how he painted himself, he could not hide who he was. Finally, the rain stopped, and the sun broke through a crack in the clouds. Eggbert began to notice something he had never noticed in his whole life. The world was full of cracks. All sort of wonderful cracks. Maybe it's not such a bad thing to be slightly cracked, he thought. From then on, Eggbert traveled around the world, making new friends and seeing famous cracked sights. But he never forgot his friends back home in the fridge, and he painted them beautiful postcards of his travels. They were well and truly amazed, and they missed him, if the truth be told. To this day, Eggbert does not regret being cracked. In fact, he is even a little proud of it. Do all eggs crack? Let's see if we can make an egg that won't crack. We're going to use some simple ingredients that you can find around your house. You can follow along at home if you get your parents' permission. While Eggbert may have been cracked, we are going to make an uncrackable egg. To do this, we need an egg and we need some vinegar. And simply, I'm going to put my egg into the vinegar, and I'm going to let it sit for a few hours now.
Days later.
Okay, so now that it's been a few days, I'm going to take the egg out of the vinegar. As you can see, the outside of the egg can sort of be scraped off. Most of it's actually fallen off into it. And now, I'm going to dry this off, but now we have a very bouncy egg. See? It's kind of gross, but it bounces. Look, see, I'm going to drop the egg from here, and it just bounces up and down. The reason that the egg bounces is because the vinegar dissolved the outer shell of the egg. And in the process of doing that, what is left is soft tissue, the inside of the egg. You can see through and see the egg yolk, and that is because nothing has actually happened to the egg. The only thing that happened is that the outer layer was dissolved, the white shell that we think of, and we were just left with this soft inner layer. While the egg did not crack, I did drop it. This is the soft inner layer of the egg that was left over after we got rid of the shell in our experiment by using vinegar. But it didn't crack like Eggbert did. If you have any questions, you can email us at readaloud@frisch.org. I'm going to put it right here.